Good morning for all of my people pleasers. Get your ass in here. We need to have a come to Jesus moment in the most loving way possible. So all my people pleasers, this episode is for you. If you're a recovering people pleaser, this is for you. And people pleasing shows up in all different ways. But if you find yourself saying yes to things that just don't feel good, you still have a people pleasing challenge. This can show up in your business, in your personal life, in so many ways. And the more we are aware of it, then we can actually do something about it, right? So it's like, I don't want you to feel like defeated or feel like bad about it, because then we can't, like, if we just feel bad about it, we can't really do anything. But when we're like, ooh, hello, people pleaser Nelly, I see you showing up again, right? Then we can really like step back. I'm having a hard time getting my foundation to do what it needs to do here. So I have noticed recently, more than ever, my boundaries are like so solid, like next level solid. Like if someone's like, hey, can you get on a phone call right now? Even if I could, if it doesn't align with my energy or my day, I say, actually I can't, but I can do this date and time, right? It's so easy, especially as a woman, to just like drop everything that you're doing and just put everyone before you. And there's a time and a place for that. Like, obviously, if there's like an emergency, like that makes sense. Like, I don't want you to be like, no, Nelly told me not to be a people pleaser, so I'm not gonna like drop what I'm doing to like go save somebody's life. So there's definitely like exceptions to all rules, but we just want to pay attention. I'm really hot on the struggle bus, y'all, with this foundation. This is like my favorite foundation, and it's not wanting to work this morning. I've never had this issue. This is like a first world problem. There we go. Come on. Maybe it was on its side and it's just kind of waking up here. So I want you to pay attention to what's on your to-do list. If you don't love what's on your to-do list, you're people pleasing, whether it's your day job or your business or both, right? There's some people pleasing there because you either said yes to something that you really didn't want to say yes to. You're not in a role that you don't love, right? Or you're not taking on tasks that you don't love, right? You get to live your life in full abundance, full wealth, full joy, full happiness. Now, it's not to say that there won't be challenges, but like there's a huge difference when you're like actually doing something that you love and there's a challenge versus you're not doing something that you love and there's a challenge. It's just a whole different vibe. Am I right? So I just want you to really pay attention to your boundaries. Like, when are you working versus when you're not working, right? What is on your to-do list? What's on your calendar? These are all boundaries, right? I know for me, I need weekend time where I am not doing anything. Like, I have choice. Like, if I want to binge Netflix, I'm going to binge Netflix. If I want to like go outside with my family and like hang out outside, I'm going to do that. So like, I intentionally do not stuff my weekends full. Boundaries are also in your finances, right? Like, are you overspending? Are you also like putting too many boundaries on you where you're like not investing? So it's crazy because like that can also show up too, where you're like hoarding money, but then like you keep wanting to like invest in things, right? So we just want to like look at all of your boundaries and see like what is serving you and what is not serving you. And like, let's start to make some changes. Like, even if we can't make all the changes today, we can make progress today, right? And that progress is the most important thing ever. Like, once we have progress, we can really like get this train going in the right direction and everything feeling amazing. And like, I just step back and I look at like my life and I'm like, I've made huge strides in a really short amount of time in the grand scheme of things, right? So like this, even when it feels slow, it's actually going fast. Like, I promise you, as long as you can say, I'm different than I was the day before. We're moving, right? Like things are moving. And obviously the bigger the moves you make, the faster you can get to your destination. But my goal with you when I'm working with you is like, let's move. Like we got to get moving. This is probably one of my biggest superpowers is moving. So let's get moving. Let's look at like what is not serving you, what is serving you. Let's do more of that. And start to put some, like, I like to call them, like, I don't know if you've ever bowled with bumpers, but I'm a way better bowler if I have bumpers, right? So, I like to think about bumpers, right? So like, for example, for my clients, I go into Telegram every Tuesday and Thursday. Now, if I can go in outside of those times, I totally do. Like if it feels good, fantastic. But like they know that's a bumper for me, right? It's not their job to remember that either. Like they can blow me up in there, but they like, if they're like, oh, I wonder why Nelly hasn't gone back to me. They may like, oh yeah, she told me like she comes in here every Tuesday and Thursday. So I'm modeling what I want them to do, right? Anytime something's on my calendar that just doesn't feel good, I shift it and I'm open and honest about it for whatever reason, right? And so I think that's just so important because we are human, right? Especially if you are raising kids, like you're going to have kids that are sick. You're going to get sick, right? You're going to have days where you just don't feel good. Maybe you started your period, right? Like there's just so much that we can shift. And I want women like getting out of the masculine, I must put my head down, I must do all of these things and show up. You can still be in integrity and shift, right? It's being honest with people and like, you know, if there's like a speaking opportunity and there's like thousands of people coming to show up for you, it's not like, hey, can we do this next week? So again, there's like always exceptions to everything, but there's so much that we don't have to do that we still do. And that's really where the opportunity is. Like, I really want you to look at that. Like, it could be one simple conversation if you have a boss and say, hey, like, I would love to negotiate working 2 days from home because I'm an introvert and being in the office is actually really draining me and it's actually hurting my work. That's a boundary, right? The worst that they can do is say no. I actually worked with a client years ago and she did that. And she negotiated, I think it was either 1 or 2 days at home. And she was so incredibly happy, right? So like, this doesn't have to just be for full-time business owners. Like, you get to feel better now. You get to have healthier boundaries now. And it's not everyone else's job to know what your boundaries are and also to enforce them. Like, you are your own police and you get to make the rules, okay? And you get to enforce the rules, and some people are going to like it and some people aren't. And that's probably why most women don't set boundaries and enforce them, because they're so afraid of, you know, people not liking them. And I totally understand that. So then that's like an opportunity to like work through those emotions. So there's so much here to work on, but like, just start small. Like, just start small. Maybe there's a task on your list that is just draining you. That is a boundary that we get to set. Okay. That is a boundary that we get to set and we get to enforce, because your energy is worth millions of dollars. And if we keep just giving your time away, we're never going to get you to your wealthiest life. Like, it's going to feel impossible. And equally, it's not going to feel good because you're not protecting your energy. To me, that's really what boundaries are. It's protecting your energy, protecting your time, protecting really your dreams. At the end of the day, it is protecting your big, big dreams. And it is no one else's job but yours. Like, the more we can take extreme responsibility, and you don't have to be a bitch about it either. Like, every time one of my top level clients say, hey, like, can you hop on a call right now? If I truly can't, right, because of so many other reasons, like, I'm not going to be my best self, then I say, I can't do right now, but I can do this, right? And if they came back and said, like, no, I really need you now, then I'd be like, okay, let me, like, give me 10 minutes, because the most important thing with this is it's a two-way street, right? When two people respect each other, there can be obviously like a give and a take. Like, we do this in our marriage often, where I'm like, oh, I have this idea, and oh, this feels good to me, this doesn't feel good to me. And then like we finally come up with like a win-win, right? Like that's the goal with boundaries, is that it's a win-win. Now, for the other party, it may not be a win-win, and we get to decide like what we do moving forward with that person. But there's so many solutions, and that's really what I want you to step into. I want you to be like super duper solution based. But like it's going to require you speaking up. And it like that's why I say start small, because if you haven't been doing this, it's going to feel a little scary. But once you start to get some relief, right? Like for me, I just don't love working nights and weekends. Like I work during the day, and so if I keep filling my nights and my weekends, I don't see my family, and then my cup is empty, and then my family's cup is empty, and then everything starts to feel really wonky. So it is very, very, very rare for me. Like I have a fundraising event on Friday night for a few hours, but then I have nothing the rest of the weekend, right? So like being very, very mindful of like, if there's an exception, it's an exception, and it's not like a common thing. So I just want you to protect your big goals and dreams, and how we do that is setting like rock solid boundaries with your finances, with your calendar, with your to-do list, with your energy, and anything else to help create the bumpers so you can strike out. Because I'm a way better bowler with bumpers, and I'm gonna guess that perhaps you are too, unless you're just like a secret amazing bowler that I just don't know, like an Olympic bowler. That is a thing. So I want you to think of one way that you can set a boundary today. Maybe it's with the person, maybe it's on your to-do list, maybe you want to take like a no phone break every day for a certain amount of time. But there's just so many opportunities for boundaries, and we're never done. Like my kids are growing, right? Like my business is growing. So like it's going to require updates just like your phone does, right? So this is not just a one and done thing. This is constant, which can be a little exhausting, but then we can reframe it to be like, no, I am protecting my big, wealthiest dreams by continuing to update my boundaries. So look for one today, get some momentum. Let me know which boundary you set, because I would love to hear. And I'm just so freaking excited for you. We have so many things happening at the Wealthy Queen movement. I'm like trying to keep up in the best way possible. There's going to be huge opportunities for personal growth, huge opportunities for people to make money, huge opportunities to get involved in our nonprofit that we are starting. Like so many opportunities. Like there is a place for you at the Wealthy Queen movement if you want it. And I know sometimes it can be like, but I just don't know how I fit in. So don't let that stop you from having a conversation with us. We often book calls if you're just like, hey, I'm just trying to figure out like what you guys do, how I fit in, all of the things, because we really love to hear like from you, like what your goals are. And that's actually way easier for us than you like trying to pick from the cheesecake menu of like, what do I do? Because there's just so much that we can do to support you. And I understand that that can be overwhelming, but like, don't, like my ask of you is like, don't let that stop you from like having a conversation with us. It's kind of like when you like are like thinking about going to college and like, you're like, I don't know what major. Don't let that stop you from like going after your goals, right? Like going for education. So the same is true here. There's just so many ways that we can support you. My dream is to have like a quiz where it can ask you like all these questions, and then it like pops out like an answer for you. Cause I just think that would be really, really cool. So let's check the makeup, see how I did. I think I need a little bit more blush here. All right, time for coffee, time for the first meeting. But yeah, let us know. We would love to chat with you about your goals, everything going on. There's just so many ways to get involved in what we're doing. There's nothing like the Wealthy Queen movement out there. You will not find something like us. We are truly one of a kind, and magic is happening here, and I want you to be a part of it. So make it a great day. I love you.